Hello, my stamping friends. My name is Holly Peterson, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. Today, I'm going to show you how to make this fun background using household product, painter's tape. I have two different widths of tape that we'll be using, so we'll show you how to use that to make a background stamp. I have all the measurements for you. A pretty basic card, just a couple layers here. Cloud cover, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And two basic white pieces that are 4 by 5 1/4. And then you'll need a piece of cloud cover that measures 1 3/4 by 7. And that's to cut these little guys out. And that is from the Beautiful Motifs dies. That's these dies. And there's a matching stamp set that goes with it that we're using, that stamp set. And I just wanted to show you this leaf die here. It doesn't cut the full leaf out. I think you can see that it has some dimension back there. So this is more of a layering piece. It doesn't actually cut it out for you, and it embosses it and then cuts a few of the layers so that you have that 3D look for that. Really cool. I haven't made a card with that yet, but I plan on it. And then our sentiment comes from Blooming Phrases. Okay. I'm going to fold our card base in half. And then reinforce it with my bone folder. And then we're going to take one of our layers of basic white. Oh, you need 8 to 9 inches of ribbon, and this ribbon is the iridescent 1/2 inch striped ribbon that we're using. Real pretty. Okay, I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper and one of my white layers. And I'm using all of the in colors for this card. We have Darling Duckling, Timid Tiger, Strawberry Slush, and Secret Sea. We don't have the stamp pad for cloud cover because there was a reaction with the ink and the material of the pad. So you can get the re-inker for cloud cover and a Stampin' Spot. I don't have my re-inker yet. That'll come in next week. But that's what I will be planning on doing with to get my cloud cover ink. So I'm going to start with the whiter painter's tape, and you want it to be wider than your card so that you have some handles. And then you're going to just lay it in the ink pad. Rub it lightly with your finger. And then we're going to put this, I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing in the middle. And then you'll just rub that down. And then we'll, let me get my garbage can over here so that I can throw these away. You'll obviously want a clean piece of tape for each color. But if you're making multiple cards, you can use the same tape multiple times. So then we're going to go with a smaller tape. Again, I'm going to make it wider than my paper here. The next color I'm going to use is Strawberry Slush. And this is a returning in color. We had it a few years ago. So we'll just lay that there. And then I'm just going to leave a little bit of a gap in between. And then I'm going to re-ink this. And do another layer up here. Throw that one away. And then we'll move on to Timid Tiger. Initially I thought that was my favorite color of the new In Colors. It's a really nice orange. Again, we'll just lay that in there, rub it gently. And then put it on our paper. Just like that. Okay, the last color is Darling Duckling. I'll get some new tape. I asked my husband if he had any painter's tape in his shop. He goes, "What do you need painter's tape for?" I said, "Well, I'm gonna stamp with it." So again, we're just gonna lay that in there. I didn't get it totally even, but that's okay. We're still going to put our yellow up here at the top. And those colors will dry a little bit lighter. You can see the difference between the dry card and the one we just stamped. To add a little bit more interest to it, I took a water painter. Let me get one. Now these are no longer available, but you could use water in a paintbrush. And I'm just getting some water on there. And then I'm going to flick water spots on there. I don't know if you can see, like right here, as the water dries, it makes the ink lighter, and then you get those nice water droplets. Okay. That doesn't take too long to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and put some adhesive on the back. Actually, you know what? We need to stamp first. We're going to stamp our greeting down here. And I'm using the Hello There with the Secret Sea ink. And that's going to bleed a little bit because of the water there, but I'm okay with that. You could heat set this with your heat tool to make that water dry faster, which is probably what I should have done, but it's not too bad. So now we can put some adhesive on the back. Oops. Because that's wet, it's sticking there. So we'll make that work. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so then you're going to just layer that onto your card base. For the envelope and the inside layer, we are going to use that image from the what was it called? The Beautiful Motifs bundle. So we're going to get our Secret C back out. And I'm going to put the full image on the envelope and then stamped off on the inside of my card. Just makes it a lighter color. And you can see my ink pad is real juicy there. I got a lot on that block. So I'll set that aside so we don't have a disaster. And then we'll put this on the inside of the card. And then for decoration, we're going to take these two die cut image for class. I have my stampers make this in class. I put adhesive sheet on the back of theirs. I did not do that on mine. So I've got this fine tip glue bottle here with some Tombow liquid glue in it. And I'm just going to put a little bit on these leaves. You don't need to do every single one. Get some of the fatter parts of the image here. You could use your silicone mat and a silicone basting brush and brush on these as well. Okay, we'll try that. And I'm just going to put that right here. And then I didn't think one was enough, so we're going to go ahead and add another layer on there. Oops, I see a little piece that I didn't get out of there. Here we go. And then I'm just going to kind of line this up with that other stem and push it down there. And then with this, we're just going to tie a bow. And like I said, I think this is about 9 inches. So I like to make a loop here, wrap it around, make another loop and push it through. And then you can just kind of hold your knot as you pull the tails. And I like to hold the tails down because that's where I want them to eventually be. So as you get the knot tighter, the bow starts looking a lot better. This ribbon is fairly thin. With it having the knot of the bow, it may require extra postage, but it could possibly be okay as well. You just check with your post office and see if it needs extra postage. I think that's still just a little too big, so I'm going to pull these a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to use a glue dot. I like to use 2 glue dots, and I just put them side by side on the knot. I'm going to stick it right there, and then we'll take our snips and trim up the tails. And if your ribbon doesn't do what you want it to do, you can always put another glue dot underneath it to make it behave. And there we have a super simple card using painter's tape as our background. Thanks for watching my video today. I greatly appreciate it. We'll talk to you later. Bye.